All right, so day 15. Believe it or not, like I stated last video, I've been kind of on a roll recently as far as uploading, editing, and making sure it's done on time. I was really happy on the fact that I did 2 videos yesterday. Well, as I'm recording this is the 1st of April, right? So I'm gonna try to do my best to try to upload this the same day, so then maybe that way here that can be my attempt for daily uploads. Because initially, like I stated, that was my plan all along, but with work and with schedule problems or schedule issues, that wasn't the case. But now I kind of am finding a new rhythm with this, so this may be something I may do or I may not do. I don't know really, because it depends on also certain days. As far as right now, I really didn't have much to do after work. So, but as far as right now, that's what we got. So anyways, for the video, it is going to be another landscape video. It might be a little bit disappointing, but personally, I want to take this chance to really just practice more with Lightroom, because again, that was one of my more goals. That was one of my goals that on the day 10 video, I wanted to get more practice into more Lightroom. So even though it's just another landscape, this was again somewhere in Mexico. But this one you can see hills and mountains. And well, maybe not right now because it's underexposed as fuck, but with a little bit of magic here and there, who knows, maybe I can make this into a decent photo. But that's really the whole plan for this video. Again, I think I did stated yesterday that with my goal is to learn more about tone curve, color mixture, color grading, and masking. And I think over these past couple of videos, I think I've done an okay job as far as going over them and seeing how it affects the photos, right? But especially today, well, unfortunately, I didn't take any photos today. Kind of, I was a little bit busy with work, so I didn't really have the opportunity to. But I already had this in mind, and believe it or not, this was the photo that I was initially going to be editing on the previous video, day 14. So again, this was already kind of in my mind. I already kind of wanted to edit this beforehand, but since I found the portrait of myself, I wanted to edit that for, especially for the masking technique, like I've stated. But again, this was always in the back of my mind as far as that this was a photo I've always wanted to upload or to edit. Now, unfortunately, as you guys can probably see, this was probably during my time that I still didn't know much about camera settings. So this was taken, I wouldn't say really nighttime, but this was taken in roughly, I didn't do a proper job as far as with camera settings and adjusting, because again, this was, I know for a fact we were constantly moving because we were in our van. We were going downhill constantly. So just as we were passing by, I just started taking photos. I have roughly like 200 photos of just this one area alone, believe it or not. How many of those came out as good and how many of those came out as shitty? Well, I don't think I need to say. I think you guys probably know I think you guys probably already know the answer. But anyways, right now with what my goal is as far as what this photo is, I'm trying to have a balance between having the sky exposed or a little bit more controlled while at the same time exposing, I guess you would call this the foreground, but in all fairness, this is really just all a background. But I'll just for the sake of it, I'm just gonna call this the foreground. So I'm trying to expose the foreground while also keeping the sky relatively exposed, but that's gonna be a little bit of a hassle here that I can see. Now, although I said that I just wanted to take this video as to kind of practice more onto Lightroom, even though I haven't seen any tutorials, I am gonna test out the manual noise reduction because this one would probably need it. And like I've stated, personally for me, talking for me, Yeah, I really wouldn't like AI doing that, because that way here I'm letting a computer do it instead of learning personally, like manually, how to do it. So that's just my take on it. But as far as with the photo overall, again, if we just replace the noise that we can kind of see here throughout the photo, I actually think that the photo came out originally on its raw format. I think it came out actually relatively good. Well, actually, when I was moving that, it actually looked pretty nice. But I don't want to have it too high, but maybe a mix. But that doesn't mean just because it's gonna be a light, I wouldn't say a light video, but just nothing new. I'm still gonna use the tools here that I've learned over the past couple of days, but it's questionable as far as masking. But I'll try my best to see what I can do. So, but obviously, I'm not gonna try to include that all in this one video. I'm gonna obviously cut the parts that would be, at least for me, interesting, right? Because as this journey goes along, as time progresses, the more I realize that, I don't know, for you guys, does it seem right? Does it seem right sitting through 30, 40, hell, maybe even an hour long videos on me just editing or critiquing? That's something that I've really been kind of questioning myself, as far as, is this really something that personally I would want to see? So that's why I'm trying to stick under 30-minute videos, which to be honest, I've been doing relatively okay over the past couple of videos. But maybe, who knows? It depends. It obviously depends. If I somehow make the video more interesting, or make the videos more interesting for the viewers, then maybe I can expand it to 40, hell, maybe even an hour. But if I'm just gonna be in silence, really not saying much, then I don't think you guys would want to fucking see that, right? I personally wouldn't want to see that. But anyways, as far as with this basic section, I'm leaning more towards the cooler side. So that's why with the temperature, I kind of ever so slightly decreased it towards the cooler side, but we're gonna probably fix it on the color grading section. But first, we're gonna go on to our handy dandy tone curve. Now, believe it or not, this tone curve what the fuck? Believe it or not, in one way, shape, or form, this tone curve single-handedly, in one swift motion, kind of became my most favorite tool to use, believe it or not. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I just needed some practice with the tone curve, because quite frankly, I never put in much thought to how the tone curve can affect the photo. But as I've been using it these past couple of days and for these past couple of photos, the more I realize, I'm like, you know what? Well, maybe actually I've been missing out a lot. So it's all part of the process. This is, of course, like I stated, as I progress in my journey, there's more things that I'm gonna learn that I wish I would have learned sooner. But it is what it is. All right. As far as, like, again, if I just learn it, then that's good. Maybe for some cases, had I learned it sooner than later, maybe would have served me well. But again, if I just have to work with what I know, right? Which I would say at the moment, it's definitely progressed. It's definitely increased as far as the first couple of photos or the first couple of videos that I uploaded. But I still know there's a lot of more tools that I can utilize, and especially more tools that I need to learn, so I can make these photos just ever more interesting, and who knows, maybe actually decent, right? But anyways, um, as far as I see here, for again, I don't want to be messing around with much of these blue, green, and red sections for the tone curve. That's why I'm gonna use the color grading section. But if we have to come back, we'll come back to it. So we'll just leave that as it is. Color mixer, would I want to do this already? Yeah, well, why not? I'm just gonna probably, let's see here what we can. So since this is leaning more towards the cooler side, maybe as far as with saturation, I just wanna, I don't know, maybe a slight increase, or you know what? Nah, I don't think that would be good. What would be, what would be a nice add-on to this? What would be something unique? Because as far as this photo goes, there's more blues than, and the majority of this photo is really blue. Again, if we look on our Instagram as well. But you know what? Actually, believe it or not, we'll leave this as it is. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I might come back and make some more adjustments, but we'll see. So we're gonna start off with obviously our color grading section. Of course, with the global, and like I've stated, since we're leaning more towards the cooler side, I want to see what's the limits I can break here, or what's the limits I can reach before it turns shitty. Now, believe it or not, one thing I was really surprised as I was going back, and especially during the weekend when I was editing every day, because that's basically what I was doing, uploading every day. I didn't realize, I didn't realize it back then, that in a span of 4 days, roughly 4 days, I uploaded 4 videos. If we're not including day 10, I uploaded 11, 12, 13, and 14. Roughly about 4 days. I'm not entirely sure what's the exact number. The amount of time it took me to upload day 1 through 4 was roughly about a week and a half. So that's it's rather interesting. But again, I can't really blame myself for not uploading, because like I've stated in the second video, if you guys saw it, it was, I needed a refresher for Final Cut, since that's the software I'm using for editing these videos. Because as far as with rendering, again, I don't even want to get into that, but man, I tell you what, it was a pain in the ass. It was a headache to try to remember, relearn, and maybe even learn some new things that I never knew Lightroom had to offer, right? So again, like I stated, it was a pain in the ass, but I'm just thankful that that's done and over with. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, back to what I'm trying to do here. As far as with this global section, maybe right now at the moment, maybe setting it more towards the cooler side. Because I'm trying to, like I stated, I'm trying to expose the sky, while at the same time, or I'm trying to control the exposure for the sky, while at the same time trying to expose the foreground, right? So that's probably right now my main goal. But if we just do right now a quick before and after. Okay, well, it's really blue. Well, actually a little bit more blue than I thought. Let's see, actually before we make any changes, I just want to see what a tint of, okay, honestly, I prefer that. Just a slight increase on the temperature, while at the same time leaving it how it is, that way here. Yeah, no. This is way too blue. Yeah, what the fuck was I thinking? Okay, there we go. That seems to be a little bit more better. All right, I'm more happy with that. I'm thankful I looked at before and after, which is why, I don't know, in my videos I seem to do a lot of before and afters, but for me personally, that's how I kind of see how much I've progressed, or how much it's altered from the original photo. So that's just a little, I wouldn't say tip, or that's how I work, right? Everyone has their own style of working, but that's just generally how I work. Now with shadows, it might be to this portion. Yeah, okay. Well, generally, Oh gosh, okay. Generally, let's actually see something. Okay, yeah, that's more blue than normal. Well, at least I can see. So we're just, let's see. I want to put it towards the warmer side, but I'm gonna need to see roughly where would be a good spot that personally for me I would like. So okay, well right now that took a roughly some time to kind of be messing around with these items or with these sliders. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure if I like the way how this is. And quite frankly, what I might just do is just might. Okay, so that's before any of the changes. Oh, well, let's see here. Okay, so the original was more blue. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'll stick to that because I made it more to the colors that I guess personally for me seems to fit more the photo because I don't know. I just found it really weird that the sky was roughly a warm color, but then the foreground again was this bluish color. So, all right, well, you know what? I'm happy with that. So we'll leave that. For midtones, this would be probably affecting. Okay, so we're gonna be affecting the clouds and roughly the top portion of the of the foreground, quote unquote, right? So again, this would probably lean more towards the warmer side since that's what I kind of that's where I leaned more towards the shadows. So maybe I would want to do the same thing, but at the same time, I would need to look to see because I know I did okay. I don't want to mess with blending and balance because that affects. I didn't realize it, but blending and balance actually affects all three all three of shadow, highlights, and midtones. So I thought each of them had their own. Okay, sure. Maybe for right now we'll leave that as it is. As far as with highlights, I'm sure we're gonna be messing with the more exposed portion of the photo. Okay, you know, yeah. Let's just leave it as it is. All right. So now let's see here. If we were to decrease or hide the color gradient changes. Okay. Well, yeah. So we kind of made it more warmer the photo in a way because it was back then it was looking more towards the cooler side even with the slight changes we made with the tone curve and the basic section. I guess we kind of corrected the colors so it kind of makes it so it kind of goes along with the theme of the photo, so that's I guess that's something. Now I just want to test something. What does this guy get? Okay, this is where some things may happen, but at the same time, I really got to be careful. Okay, believe it or not, I actually kind of like that. I don't know why, but I actually kind of like that. But I'm just gonna slightly. There you go. Okay, believe it or not, I didn't think that would actually look kind of nice. I kind of actually like that. Okay, maybe for right now for mask, even though it was just a slight decrease in highlights, I think that made it a little bit better. Maybe, who knows? So we're gonna go back over here. So now we're gonna head into this manual noise reduction and very curious as far as how this is gonna come out. Okay, we removed the noise. Now what changed? Did we make it more smoother? Let's check another portion. Let's check. Yeah, I'm just gonna focus myself here on the mountains. Now let's go add in more detail. Do I see any changes? They're very minor. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is very minor. However, I'm just going to leave it roughly on par with luminance. Contrast. Okay, contrast now. If I raise up the contrast, I start to see a little bit of, I don't know what you call this, a little bit of the grain coming back, so, or noise. So we're gonna decrease that. Let's see here. Yeah, believe it or not, yeah, that's a huge change. I don't know if you guys can see it, but me personally, that's a huge change. Now, as far as what was really made, I don't know. I think we just made the whole picture a little bit more smoother, dehazed it in a way. But yeah, that is roughly a huge change. So I'm kind of happy. Again, to be honest, I don't know what I'm really doing, but it's fine, you know, because I kind of learned something, and I didn't have to look at a tutorial, believe it or not. So that's good. Anything else I would add to this photo? Let's do a quick comparison. Okay, well, I look at it. Obviously, the bottom portion, the foreground as we're calling it now, was underexposed. We could barely see the hills and the mountains. Maybe it was a little bit more cooler, and maybe the changes that were made were we just made the, I guess the picture more warmer. Definitely exposed the foreground, and especially we definitely kind of, what would you say, reduced the noise in a way. So, you know, it's something. Let's look at it like this. That's the raw photo. This is after. All right, well, yeah, I think personally, yeah, I think that's pretty good actually. I wouldn't say it was bad. I wouldn't say I did bad, but I think overall, I think I did pretty good as far as what I can do here. Because believe it or not, if we're not including Mixer, I did roughly about every single option except for every single option that I've been utilizing these past couple of videos. All right, well, let's see. I don't want to say that's it because I don't want to be over dramatic over this one, but I personally think that that may just be it, believe it or not. Again, this was, but there's no way, no. I need to look at this. There's just something with me that doesn't feel right that I just leave it like this. Or who knows, maybe that is really all I can do. Or maybe much, or better, retract, rephrase. This is all from my practice and from my knowledge from Lightroom. This is the best I can do. I'm not gonna say that this is all this is all that can be done. I'm sure there's many more creative ways to make this photo more interesting. But as far as with what I've utilized for this photo, tone curve, color grade and detail, masking, who knows, maybe? No, because again, this one's not really good. This picture is not ideal for masking. So I'm kind of surprised they even took the background as that, but believe it or not, actually, I think that's just gonna be it. Was it very minor? Maybe. Was there more I could have done? Most likely. But just things like this, just making me a little bit aware of what changes I've done, what changes I could have done, and especially like I said previously, whenever I do my next critique video, I'm gonna call it. Whenever I sit down, critique my work that I'm currently doing. Hopefully by then I have better understanding and hopefully more knowledge as to how to properly utilize these Lightroom tools. But maybe for as far as right now, I'm happy with the photo came out. Yes, there were a little bit of, I wouldn't say hiccups, but yeah, I was a little bit uncertain as to what to do. But I think I say overall, I think I did a fairly okay job with this photo and probably with many, but it's fine. Let's see here. Yeah, believe it or not, that's really it. Was it the photo that I was hoping for to become better? I don't know. And but who do I have to blame for that? It would just be me, right? Because I wouldn't say I didn't properly prepare myself for this, but maybe this is as another learning curve to, hey, maybe next time when I have a type of photo like this, maybe prepare yourself to make it more interesting, more creative. I don't know, to catch the viewer's eye in a way. That's, I guess, personally how I would take of it. But again, as far as the changes we've done, I liked how it came out. I personally, and like with all these photos, I liked how it came out. I can't really complain because I'm sure this is far better than what I've would have done roughly a few months ago. Because hell, if I had not been even recording this journey, continuing on with this journey, I probably would have never, this photo would have probably never seen the light of day. Would have probably been stored away in my memory card in my camera. So overall, I can't really complain with what changes we've done. But yeah, other than that, that concludes day 15. I'm gonna try to upload it the same day because, man, I tell you, I got really excited, and all I'm gonna say is I feel good about myself when I have this momentum going. So I try to keep up with it and I don't try to lose it. So I'm gonna try to do my best to upload it the same day, and then hopefully for tomorrow, day 16, which would be the 2nd of April. But I'm not gonna say much because I don't know how my schedule, as far as with work and how maybe even personal life, I don't know how that may come into play. But as far as right now, that concludes day 15, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.